Hey everybody, Steven here, and today unboxing and reviewing a new wireless headset. I've wanted this for some time now. It's just a lot more expensive than the other wireless headsets I use. This is the ROG Strix Go 2.4. So with this, the big draw is the weight, which I'm curious to see if it's what it says on the back here, which is 290 grams. Doesn't specify if that's with or without the microphone. And then the Amazon listing says 252. So you're probably wondering what this is. I actually got a scale, a food scale, so that I can actually double check these numbers with a lot of these. Because a lot of times it may say it's something and it may feel heavier a lot of times than what they're listing, or the confusion with the numbers. These are two separate numbers. So I'm curious to actually see what this is. But main draw here, it works with everything. PC, consoles, Nintendo Switch, PlayStation, Xbox, doesn't matter. Where some of these I've used in the past, they're very specific to maybe just PC, or maybe just an Xbox and PC, or just PlayStation 4 or 5 and PC. So with this, works with everything. So excited to actually look at this. Let's get this thing unboxed first, and then I'll do kind of a run through on the specs, and then after that I'm going to spend some time with it, and then I'll actually switch over and do the review portion of this. So here we go. Clean packaging. That is the front right there. Pop this off, and it is in a case. So cool thing with this, you get the carrying case. Outside of that, it looks like you have the wind muff for the microphone there, user guide, which is quite thick, multiple languages, and then warranty card after that. So let's unzip this. I like the carrying case. That looks really, really cool. And then it just sits right in there. So carrying case, I haven't had that with any other wireless microphone that's a gaming microphone. I've actually done reviews on just wireless headsets, like Bluetooth headsets that you can use with your phone and things like that, but no gaming ones like this. So we have our dongle here. This is USB Type-C. So with this, if you don't have that, you're going to need an adapter to actually connect this to your PC. Keep that in mind. But you can also connect this with the 3.5mm headphone jack. So let's see, detachable microphone here. And this is where if you're going to put that wind muff, that wind guard on there, you could put that there. After that, if you're going to charge it up, we have our USB Type-C charging cable. I like how this actually clips in here too. They have, if you can kind of see it there, they actually have little straps in there so to hold it in tight. Then our 3.5mm headphone jack, and this is that good braiding too. It's not just that loose rubber. Although the charging cable is that type of rubber, I don't like that. Not a huge fan. And actually, I got that backwards. Here, oh, okay, never mind, I was correct. They give you an adapter. That I like, so you don't have to buy one. So this is going to be if you need to use USB Type-C to USB, just regular, right? Just plug this in. Now it does make it a little bit bigger, but the fact that you can do that is pretty cool. So we have that, and then the headphone itself, we'll pop this out, and it folds in there in that very specific orientation because they have this kind of material lined out to cup it like that. So let's get our sticker peels going. Those were loose on there because this isn't really a sticky material. This is more like flat or matte versus like that shine. And I like that because that means they're not going to get scratched up as easy as compared to some other products. Looks like we got one more peel here. I don't even think I can get the right angle on that. And it's nothing special. All right. We have our silica in the actual ear muffs there. Get that out. And then it folds out. So there we go. See the flex on that. Good flex. We have our cushion up top, and that actually wraps around with that fabric up top. That may get torn up over time, we'll see. And then of course, raising the height on this, still has good flex. And then the ear muffs themselves, that feels like memory foam. I like the ROG. You can actually see the logo on the inside. Let's see if I can get that. There we go. So you can see the ROG logo. On the bottom here, let's see. Does it even label it? A lot of times it will. Yeah, so this is going to be the left side, and then the right side, they do have that on the inside. So on the left side here, it looks like we have the plug-in for the microphone is on the bottom. I don't know if we can get a good angle right there. And then after that, this is going to be the 3.5 millimeter headphone jack. I'm assuming, oh, and you can toggle that to, yeah, you can turn it off or on based off of that. So if you're going to go to the headphone, is that 3? No, it's just that. So you're either turning the 2.4 on or off. And then we have, I'm assuming, yes, power button right there. And then a volume wheel. So power button and volume wheel on this side. On the other side, it looks like it's going to be the charging port for that. Let's give this a quick test here, just for feel. Okay, finally, a headset that is not incredibly heavy. One of the main things I've talked about on my reviews is I don't like something that's extremely tight fitting on my head. This is not that at all. This feels very comfortable and something that doesn't weigh a ton. When I use my wired headset here, this is what the Philips SHP 9500, something like that. I always forget the name. But this is so light that when I go from a wireless headset back to that, it's a huge like sigh of relief because there's not all this pressure on my head. I like what the wireless headsets can provide in terms of sound quality, especially if they're 7.1 surround sound or anything like that. But the trade-off for me has always been the weight. If it weighs a bunch and it's putting a lot of pressure on my head, I can't use it for a long period of time because it'll give me a headache. This is light. So let's check this out. So 252 grams on the Amazon listing, 290 on the box. Let's see what this weighs. 296.5. I'll try that again. 296.4. One more time, just double checking everything. 296.4, so it is. So at 296, I mean, that's gonna put it in the same weight category as a lot of these others, but this just feels way lighter for some reason. Now let's check that. The microphone also, let's see what this weighs. 12.1, so I mean we can kind of round that. 297 plus 12, so what's that get you? Like 309? So 309 grams, that's like the other ones. It just feels way lighter. I don't know, it feels way lighter. The earmuffs are very comfortable also. It doesn't have a lot of flex this way. Just noticing that. Height, I think for some people may be an issue. I even tightened that a little bit. It's fine for me. So if I did it all the way, that'd be way too big. I think it'll be fine for most people. But yeah, very comfortable. Like first impression, very comfortable. Let's cover the specs though with this. I mentioned the 2.4 gigahertz. I mentioned it works with all of the different consoles with this, along with PC. You can use a 3.5 millimeter headphone jack if you want to. AI noise canceling dual microphone. This is interesting as well. So with this pickup pattern for the microphone, bidirectional for the boom mic, and then omnidirectional for a hidden mic. Very curious to try this out. So with this, when we come to that review portion, and I do this for all my videos, I don't just do a small test for the microphone. I actually record the whole review portion with the microphone so you can hear what it sounds like the whole time. I don't just like it when it's just like, hey, here's like a 30-second snippet. Let's listen to it for the whole thing. Extremely lightweight. It says the 290 grams. Mine is registering. Now let me zero this out again. And we'll double check it one more time because right now it's saying that it's 290. Yeah, 296.3 there. So with that, I'm sure they're just rounding down. I don't know what they're doing with that, but 296 grams. True to life gaming audio. It has 40 millimeter drivers with this. And impressive long battery life. Up to 25-hour battery life lets you game nonstop. Fast charging with the USB Type-C provides 3 hours of use with just a 15-minute charge. You have to have the USB 3.0 cabled for the fast charging. So with this, you get the headset, the carrying case, USB-C dongle, USB-C to 3.0, USB 3.0 dongle. You get the USB Type-C charging cable, 3.5 millimeter audio cable, which is 1.2 meters. So with that, I believe that's close to 5 feet. The other one is the charging cable is 1 meter, so that's like it's got to be 4.5 feet. With that, I may be off on my meters. Quick start guide, detachable microphone. So just looking at this, the driver material, neodymium magnets. That's pretty standard what I see with all these headphones here. Battery is 1800 milliamps, which gets you the 25 plus hours of battery life. The frequency response, 20 hertz to 20 kilohertz. That's standard. And that is going to be over the 2.4 gigahertz. So when you're doing the wireless, if you do it when you plug it in, you'll get 10 hertz to 40 kilohertz over the 3.5 millimeter audio jack there. Impedance is 32 ohms. And frequency response sensitivity, 100 hertz to 8 kilohertz, boom and hidden mic, negative 54 decibels for the boom mic, negative 45 decibels for the hidden mic. So that is the specs. I told you my initial impression just throwing this on. The lightest wireless headphone set that I've used to date, for sure. Even though weight-wise, it's pretty close to the other one. So I don't know if it's material, what's going on with it. It just feels lighter. Maybe it's how it's made in terms of the shape is the other thing, where it doesn't feel like it's just resting a lot of that or crushing my head like the squeeze. I don't know. Something about this feels really good. So excited to try this out. And then with this, I'll make sure my son has an Xbox Series X, so I'll make sure that I try it on the new console just to make sure that, yeah, this will work with the adapter as well. Let him try it out and get kind of his feedback as well when gaming and maybe doing some voice chat with friends when he's playing his online games and things like that. So what we're going to jump over to now is the review portion. I like to spend, usually 2 to 4 weeks with these, where I'm just kind of taking notes, trying this out for long periods, putting it kind of through the paces and trying out different games, just different scenarios, watching movies, YouTube videos, listening to music, things like that, checking the distance, everything that I could do with this. I try to actually do that and then take the notes. So this is the unboxing portion. Let's go ahead and jump over now to the review portion, where I will be doing the commentary, the audio voiceover work with this actual microphone. So I've spent over a month with the ROG Strix Go, and this is by far the best wireless headset I've used to date. That's not to say it doesn't have some downsides to it, but overall this is an incredible wireless headset that comes the closest to feeling like it's fully worth its MSRP. This of course is what the microphone sounds like, which isn't bad for a wireless headset, or even a wired headset for that matter, but I'll get more into that in a bit. So I'll be covering the positives and negatives together instead of separate, as they seem to be paired up. Let's start with the big positive here, which is the weight. This is the lightest wireless headset I've used in terms of how it feels on my head, even though it doesn't weigh less than some of the other headsets I've used in the past. And for me, that's a big selling point here. The previous wireless headsets I've reviewed have weighed either the same or zero point 0.1 to zero point 0.2 pounds heavier, but they had more pressure on my head than this. It's not even a close comparison here, as there are all those headsets and then this one. I can spend hours playing games, listening to music, or enjoying video content without this eventually giving me a headache like the other headsets. Now, as much as this is a big deal for me, I know it won't be for everyone, and this comes with two potential downsides. The first is the lighter weight means that this is pretty much all plastic, so it will break more easily. Don't go throwing this headset in a game rage moment, because it will most likely break. The second thing here is the ear pads are quite small.
This reminds me of the non-gaming wireless headsets out there like the Beats by Dre. I reviewed the Vankyo C750, which had smaller ear pads than this actually, and the CYSTEREO Lava, which is basically the same size. So instead of completely engulfing my ear, which I prefer, this either rests slightly on top of the edges of my ears, or I shift them around in the headset for a second and my ears actually fold into the ear pad. Once they're there though, this feels fine, but I would have preferred a slightly larger ear pad here, more specifically a wider ear pad. I love the size of my Philips SHP 9500 ear pads, which are still my favorite wired open ear headset. With that being said, though, this is a minor complaint here, and I don't think it will be an issue for most people unless you have really big ears. The material feels good, but is prone to getting warm, so if your ears get hot and sweaty with other pleather ear pads, they will hear too. I think companies should always provide two models or the ability to swap out the ear pads for different fabrics for this issue. What's interesting is that you can actually remove the ear pad here, which makes this easy to replace, which is awesome, but would also make it easy to replace with a different fabric one if they made it. They do provide good noise cancellation though, solely based off the build here. Of course, it doesn't matter what the weight or fit is like if the sound sucks, but don't worry, that isn't the case here at all. This sounds great regardless of what you're doing, and although I think the software on PC is just okay, the amount of adjustments you can make with this headset are great. So let's cover what you'll find in the software real quick. Keep in mind this is for PC only, as you won't get these adjustments with consoles. On the audio tab, you'll find device settings on the left. This is where you can adjust basic functions with the headset, including volume levels, channel mixer, and then the microphone volume, and turn on microphone monitoring. On the right side is the sound optimization, which includes presets at the top. Here you have communication, flat, FPS, gaming, movie, music, racing, and RPG. Gaming and FPS have been my personal favorites here, and you can tell a difference between each setting. After that, you can enable virtual surround sound, which does a great job in games, but you won't notice it outside of that unless the content is specifically surround sound. I just leave it on by default personally. After that is reverb, where you will find studio, theater, live, cave, church, and stadium. This is fun to mess around with, and I've been using studio for long play sessions. Each of these comes with a slider so you can adjust it from 0 to 100%. Next is equalizer, which has classic, default, hip hop, jazz, metal, rock, techno, and vocal. You can adjust this to your liking also. With these though, I'm actually a little bit disappointed in them as I didn't notice much of a difference between any of these while listening to music. After that we have bass boost, compressor, and voice clarity, which have sliders from 0 to 100%, and these I notice a big difference with. Last we have the microphone adjustment with noise gate, perfect voice, and AI noise cancellation. I've had all three turned on this whole time. Noise gate removes the background noise between words and sentences. Perfect voice adjusts the audio effects for communication, so this would be great for anyone who works from home. Both of these have sliders from 0 to 100%, and I currently have them set to around 50%. AI noise cancellation is self-explanatory, but let's do a quick test with these turned off. So this is with all three of these turned off, but now let's go ahead and add back in the noise gate. So this is going to be with the noise gate added back in at 50%, but now let's go ahead and add in the perfect voice. Now we have perfect voice turned back on at roughly 50% also, and finally let's add the AI noise cancellation back in. So now we have all three turned back on again, and this is where the headset shines, as the software makes this one of the best wireless headset microphones I've used because of all that you can actually adjust and tweak with this. The software helps to smooth everything out and make this sound less tinny, which has always been a big drawback for wireless headsets. Now, this isn't perfect, but it is a big step above the other headsets I've used, and I could see someone even using this for videos if they needed to. It won't replace a good condenser microphone, of course, but it's better than lots of wired headsets I've used in the past. A potential downside here, though, is cracking audio since it's wireless, and with the noise gate, perfect voice, and AI noise cancellation turned on, there is a tendency for that to not actually pick up some of my words that may actually have happened in this video. So if you find it, that's why. It does seem very rare though compared to other headsets I've used NVIDIA broadcast with, which is NVIDIA software, which kind of does this exact same thing in terms of getting rid of the background noise. So it hasn't seemed like it's actually done it to my surprise very often. But like I said, it may be in there. You may have a word that kind of dips off or something like that. But it is very rare. I do want to point that out. After that, the next tab is power, where you can check the battery life and set when this will sleep after being idle. The last tab is the firmware update tab. Overall, the software has been okay, but seems rather bloated with needing to sign up with Asus before doing anything, lengthy updates, and constantly asking me to register the product. I like the amount of options this headset has, but outside of that, I get frustrated with how many times it forces me to check for firmware updates also before even using the headset. Moving on from the software, another big positive here is the versatility of the headset, as I've tested this with the Nintendo Switch and Xbox Series X with no issues. The downside here, though, is you don't have the software to make any adjustments like you can on PC. It still sounds good, but this headset shines on PC. For the Switch, this is a great product specifically as the USB Type-C dongle connects easily, so you can actually use this wirelessly with that without any problems. The Xbox Series X, on the other hand, doesn't connect to the dongle via the USB adapter for some reason, so you'll have to utilize the auxiliary cable, which is kind of a bummer. I'm not quite sure why it wouldn't work, but it doesn't. A couple of the smaller negatives I wanted to cover here real quick are the length of the USB Type-C charging cable, which is super short. So if you plan on charging the headset and using it at the same time, this most likely won't work. This should have been a longer charger cable in my opinion. You'll need to have the USB dongle plugged in while doing this also, as plugging the USB Type-C charging cable into your PC charges it, but it doesn't connect it for sound, just for firmware updates, which is super weird to me. If you don't have a Type-C port on your PC, then the adapter is good to have, but it puts this at such a weird angle that it might cover up other USB ports. An upside to the USB Type-C, though, is you can just buy a longer one if you don't already have one. And this actually allows for a quick charge, so you can get 3 hours of playtime in roughly 15 minutes. The battery life, by the way, has been great, with Asus saying that this has 25 hours of use on a single full charge. I personally used it for 2 weeks before needing to recharge it. So right now the positives are the lightweight, sound quality, sound options, microphone, the ability to use this across any console or device, the battery life and quick charge, and lastly the traveling case, which is pretty great for those on the go. The downsides here are the smaller ear pads, potentially to break if thrown or dropped, issues with the software, the Type-C charging cable length, the dongle adapter covering ports potentially and not working with the Xbox, although that might be an issue with the Xbox and not this product. And last is one minor complaint, which is the look. I love the aesthetics, but it's a fingerprint magnet. And I think this would look much better with matte black for everything, as the shiny metal parts on it just throw off the look for me. So the ROG Strix Go 2.4 wireless headset is officially at the top of my list for best wireless headset. And although it does have some drawbacks, I think the positives with this headset outshine any of its negatives. And this puts it a step above other competitors at the moment, at least for the products that I've tried. This comes with a steep price tag of $199 though, which makes it the most expensive headset I've owned. I think it earns its higher price tag personally, but I would still wait for this to go on sale, which luckily it currently is $174 on Amazon right now, and I've even seen it as low as $149. I'll have a link for this in the description if you want to pick it up right now while it's on sale. Well, that's going to be it for this video. I hope it helps you make an informed purchasing decision. If there's anything I didn't cover in the video, let me know in the comment section and I will answer that for you there. If you liked the video, hit the like button for me. If you want to continue to follow along with all my content, hit the subscribe button for me. And as always, thanks so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.